everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford, the meteorologist on the Moose, and on our journey today is the biggest dang week in Xbox history. There's so much to talk about, so just jump on into the Xbox Drive.
No power greater than X.
Hello, Sean Capri.
Ryan Turford, Andiamo, let's go.
Andiamo, let's go. I'm so confused all of a sudden.
We're starting off in Italian.
I mean, I mostly was confused. I wanted to make sure you're actually here because we had a little turbulence when you were doing the intro, Sean, where you're basically you're basically like, hey everyone, it's me. And then that's all you said until you got to the blah part. So hopefully everyone at home got to see it okay. But I wanted to make sure you're actually here, Sean. You're not a ghost.
Oh, I had no idea what you're talking about. I'm not sure what the turbulence here is. But John 32's in the chat, but I'm just gonna try and get through this headache that we've got going on here, Ryan.
Welcome on in, Jan 32. Of course, this is the Xbox Drive. We're talking about Xbox. But before we do that, Sean, how are you doing? How's Sean doing today?
Headache is how I'm doing today. This afternoon is a bit of a headache, unfortunately, but we're gonna power through. It's gonna be like there's so much happening, dude. It is ridiculous. Playing games, unfortunately, hasn't really been one of them. At least not on Xbox this week.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
We're gonna talk about this. We got. I alluded to it last week with Starfield, and I have come through, Ryan. I'm waiting. I feel like this is a risk. I understand that. I feel like it's a risk because Forza's right around the corner. It could sweep me away from my lovely Starfield, but I'm waiting for that map in the DLSS, and I feel like a better version is coming, just like Cyberpunk came. Cyberpunk is like it released 2
years after it came out.
Yeah, man.
It finally came out.
So there you go.
We finally got Cyberpunk. Yeah, I saw like Victor Lucas, for example, talking about that on Twitter.
Yes.
Today. He's just like, congratulations, we finally hit the release date for Cyberpunk 2077.
Time for it to come to Game Pass. Come on, Phil, make it happen.
I'm actually kind of surprised it still hasn't at this point, but maybe CD Projekt Red is like, you know what, with this expansion coming out, like people are gonna
pay for it. Yeah, it's gonna do well for sure. Yeah.
The bag that Phil would have to probably hand out would probably be too much. But so Sean, since I asked how you were doing, of course I'll let you know. 17 degrees outside. Of course, we're getting into the fall season here in Ontario. The weather's cooling down a little bit. I expect, we're going to have snow in probably another month or two. But we're getting into the spooky season. Of course, October and Halloween and Thanksgiving are almost here, Sean. The weather is reflecting that. I actually had to wear pants to work today. It was weird.
What do you normally wear to work?
Shorts.
Oh,
okay. Shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
That's like the most Ryan Turford outfit, anyways. Sean, it's just shorts and a t-shirt.
It's just underwear. just a long shirt.
Just a night shirt. Just walking around with a night shirt.
Just let it hang down.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing's wrong with that. I mean,
cover up the stuff. Yeah,
it worked in the movies, Sean. So it worked for Peter Pan. Why can't it work for me?
I'm with you, man, and Winnie the Pooh. So just do that.
Well, no, see, Winnie the Pooh didn't really wear a long shirt. He just didn't wear pants.
He had a nice belly.
Yeah. He's like Donald Duck in that same way, because Donald Duck is the same way, where he'll wear like shirts, but he won't wear pants.
Yep. It's all about the midsection. You got to have a nice rounded midsection. Then it all works somehow. It's kind of the opposite of what you'd expect, really.
True.
Yeah.
True. I mean, that's the deep lore, the deep Disney lore, Sean. But we're not here to talk about the deep Disney lore, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no. This is the Xbox Drive. We're talking about Xbox and other related Disney lore related things. Sean's, of course, for the audio listeners, showing off games that he got at the library, the bibliothèque, is one might say.
La bibliothèque.
But tell the listeners at home, Sean, since they can't.
I was just being silly. Well, Ryan, you mentioned the weather is getting a little bit cooler as we approach Halloween, Hallows Eve.
Yes.
And so I thought I'd grab a couple spooky games from the library, the Callisto Protocol and the Quarry. Ryan, I think that you enjoy the Quarry.
I do.
Very much.
I did enjoy the Quarry. I mean, I love horror movies and I like horror games. And of course, it's made by the folks who made Until Dawn, which is a game I really like. And that's honestly one of their best games. Although I will say they've honestly been getting a lot better. Like, I feel like they've really come back to their Until Dawn form with their last couple games.
Yeah.
Both The Devil and Me, the Dark Pictures anthology game that came out last year, and The Quarry. I think both of them were pretty strong games.
Well,
So
I might give it a shot. How long do you think this will take me? The Quarry.
10 hours.
I could do that.
At
I could do that.
It'll even probably take you less, but it's like, because you're going to watch all the cutscenes and stuff. So I'd say probably closer to 10 hours, I think.
I'm tempted. I mean, this could be good streaming. Actually, I probably should have done this tonight. Honestly.
Probably.
Yeah, played F-Zero 99 for 2
Oh,
hours.
we could place bets to see how many people Sean could keep alive.
All of them.
Quarry.
All of them. Yep. None of them are to survive. Definitely
Really?
not. I mean,
that's tough.
That's hard to do. Challenge.
That's actually harder to do in that game versus other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sense.
Because there's a little twist to the formula that you'll find out when you play it. That even makes it more difficult. Or there are other permutations besides having them killed.
Gotcha.
But that's beside the point.
It is. Yeah, we're way off track. What are we doing here?
Absolutely. We should probably clean the garage a little bit. So folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of awesome ways to do it. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right now over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to like the video, smash kick that subscribe button if you haven't smash kicked that subscribe button already. And also let us know in the comments below what you thought about Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine or any of the things we're going to talk about on today's show. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to rate us if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or maybe leave us a nice Apple Podcast review, and maybe poke that subscribe button as well if you haven't hit that subscribe button already. And then last but not least, if you want one giant podcast feed with all the Carpool Gaming goodness on it or some exclusive content, head on over to patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. Throw a little tip in the old tip jar, and out comes content like the Pants Patreon podcast for patrons podcast. Because Sean, you're recording this week's episode. That's coming.
That's me. Yeah, that's the show I started, and now I'm back. My third time. The rotation continues. Get your questions in. Ask me literally anything. We've talked about milk in weird ways. I'll just say that, Ryan Turford.
Excellent.
Yes.
Good to hear. Good to hear that podcast is on track. The last time I was on there, I was talking about being in the theater, Sean, and working in the theater, because I got a question about the theater. Do you like how I say the word theater, Sean?
You just keep doing you, Ryan.
Thanks, buddy. All right. Without further ado, folks, let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It is time for the playlist. But also, before I get into this, real quick, I gotta give a shout out to Jan32's query in the chat. Game of the year, F-Zero 99. It's like Video Arcade Top 10.
Yeah.
Sean, do you remember Video Arcade Top 10?
Oh, of course. Yeah, man. That's a dream show. How does that even exist? That's a great callback. Love that for all you oldies out there.
It's a good show. I don't know if it's as good as Video Power, Sean. Do you remember Video Power?
That I don't remember. No, I don't know that one.
Okay, so that Video Power was a show where, first of all, it's hosted by this really unhinged host that's just kind of off the deep end in more ways than one. But they have the kids play these little tournaments, and a lot of the games they play are Konami games and a lot of awesome multiplayer games.
Wait a second. Wait. I think I'm recognizing this. At the end, do they go in the game?
No, that's a different show.
Okay, what is that show?
That's Nick Power. That's the Nickelodeon video game.
Yeah, they went
show.
In the game. That blew my mind.
Same. That was so cool because that was another good one. But no, Video Power instead. If you are the grand prize winner, Sean, if you make it to the end, what happens is they have a actually store setup of games with all the game boxes and stuff, and they give you these Velcro vest and this Velcro helmet, and you have to run around the mall and gather the games and attach them to your helmet and to your vest, and whatever you stick to you get to keep.
Oh,
and then if you get the secret game, they would give out Neo Geo consoles, which were $1,000 back then and stuff like that. That was the dream show. That was the show that Ryan Turford wanted to be on.
Nice. Yeah. I love it.
Yep.
Nice.
Never got to be there. But anyways, we're off track. Let's talk about the games we've been playing because Jan32 brought it up real quick. I know it's not Xbox related, but Sean, you and I both played F-Zero 99 a whole lot.
So good. It's so good, man.
Honestly,
I just want to listen to the music. I think I need to download that soundtrack and just have it power my life, because people were jumping into the stream over at twitch.tv/Carpool Gaming Live, which in September, people can support us over there as well. You get a nice it's a nice inexpensive way to support the channel. And so yeah, I was streaming over there. It looks like that's what's going to happen on Friday nights. Ryan seem to be streaming there for a couple hours. Nice little warm up before the Xbox drive that we record here in the middle of the night, as it seems, or bright and early if you're over in Europe. But yeah, dude, F-Zero 99. And I started doing pretty decent. And by that, I mean like not crashing and burning. So I'll take it.
I loved how, I can't remember who in chat said this, but they so eloquently put it. It's like the only game that you'll play where coming in 75th place out of 99, you'll still feel really good about that.
Still feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. Cause I also played it on stream, Sean, and had a blast with it as well. Like I won a bunch of times. I won a bunch of times.
Whoa, you won first place winner?
I've had over 20 first places at this point, Sean.
Dude, I got to check my controller though. Like I'm not getting the turns that I'm wanting on there.
It's one of those things too, where like I used to play F-Zero a ton growing up. Like I've memorized those tracks. And there's a lot of really interesting and deep strategy that comes in F-Zero 99, believe it or not, where it's like you need to time your boost at like the exact right moments. And then you kind of have to use that life as a resource, where a lot of times, Sean, when I win the race, I'm down to like millibytes of health. Like nothing, like no health.
I'm nowhere
because
near
I'm
there.
boosting that. Like I'm using my boosts correctly in that way. So it's like you have to find that right balance. But when it locks in, oh boy, you're gonna do well, my friend.
Oh boy,
yeah, dude, I've been playing so much of that game. So
nice.
Sean, what else have you been playing besides F-Zero 99?
Just we don't need to spend very much time on this, but Donnie Reese was on the show with us throughout August, or at least with me throughout August. And me, Ryan, I've been wanting to get into these Warhammer games for a long time. I've got a bunch of them on Steam. Donnie talked me into buying Warhammer 40,000 bolt gun. He mentioned, and I've been watching the trailers and gameplay reveals for Space Marine 2, and they look great. So I'm like, well, I didn't even know there was a Space Marine 1. Like, what is this thing? So it was on sale this week on Steam for like 10 or 12 bucks. So I picked that up and played the first few levels, and it's a very it has been compared to Gears, but I don't know how to do any sort of cover shooting. It's just big, clunky, over the top, violent kind of arcade shooter kind of thing, with just a whole bunch of hordes of enemies coming after you. And again, I'm not here to, represent any sort of formal review. I'm like 1 or 2 chapters into this thing.
You're just dipping your toes in right now.
But it's a game that's on Steam and it's fun to play. It's fast moving and just over the top violent, and it's a good time. So I hope to jump into it a little bit more, but I'm going to be a little distracted here, Ryan, because I decided, like I said, Starfield's we're going to pause Starfield for a little bit. I don't know when these updates are coming. I don't know if this is a good idea. It's probably a terrible idea.
Part of me feels like those updates aren't coming until next year, like early.
You think so?
At this point,
yeah.
Like I think it's going to be a while before we see them.
Before maps.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what do you think about this? Like, what do you think about like spending all my time and then getting maps afterwards? Like that feels dumb to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm. Well, I mean,
it might be one of those things, Sean, where if you wait too long and you want to get back into it, you just really like, well, I may as well start over at this point and just reset.
I might be okay with that too, though. I don't know.
True.
That might be okay. It's not
because like that's, for example, like Cyberpunk's the perfect example of this, because I'm like very much eyeing that 2.0 patch for Cyberpunk because it looks really cool, and I'm like, I kind of want to play Cyberpunk again, but I can't. I have to start over if I want to do that. Because even though my save is like 20 hours into Cyberpunk, I'm like, I think I'm gonna just start the game over instead.
I'm kind of the same way, and in a way, like it actually seems like a really, like in my mind, a logical trade-off to stop doing Starfield because updates are coming and start playing the game that finally got its updates, and just kind of do that. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll still think about this, but I think I'm good on Starfield for now. Like I feel like that was good news to hear that stuff is coming. And I don't know that I've heard anybody else talk about it in this way. Everybody, like, Kevin Ainsworth just finished the game.
Right.
He just, like, as he does.
No, but you and I we're both taking a break from Starfield because I'm the same way. Like I decided just to wait. As soon as they announced it, I'm like, I don't need to invest any more time into this game now, because I know as soon as those come out, whenever that comes out, I'm just going to start the game over anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I may as well just wait at this point.
I'm curious what other people are doing. I feel like
it reminded me because I got Cyberpunk sitting on my desk here.
There you go. Cyberpunk. I have it installed digitally.
This is the copy I bought, Sean, for $5 of Cyberpunk.
That's really smart.
This was when like it was at like the lowest value where nobody wanted this game. It was in bargain bins at Dollarama here in Ontario.
That's crazy. I love it. Yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of just in between stuff crazy week at work. I had a good sleep. That's for sure, Ryan. Earlier this week, I went to bed at like 7:30. So
well, yeah, we're close, Sean. We are exactly 2 weeks to the day where Forza early access
that's
starts.
next for me. Yeah, we're kind of in this in-between zone as well. So if I'm really taking a pause from Starfield, then I've got 2 weeks to do kind of anything else, kind of like refocus for a little bit, but Forza is the one.
Yeah,
You know, I picked up an extra copy of Marvel's Avengers. It went on sale like 95% off.
Yeah.
So
well, the game's delisting at the end of the month.
Yep.
That's why.
So I jumped on that. I don't know if I'll ever play that.
But you know what, Sean? I will tell you, and I've said this on the show many times, so this is not new information. Like, that campaign is worth it for $5 or $10, whatever you paid for it. Like, that alone will be worth the price of it. If people have not jumped on Avengers yet, if you have not played it or not bought it, now is the time to do it before it gets delisted, because that campaign is very good. It's just all the other stuff that comes after it that'll be turned off is the stuff that no one likes, but it's going to be turned off anyway, so you're not going to have to worry about it.
Nice.
Just play through the campaign, because I think that's worth the money.
Pure experience. Yeah. I mean, between that and like Gotham Knights coming to Game Pass, like there's kind of a lot that people can kind of go in, get these. I don't know. I don't want to call them B tier or anything like that, but it's like these are games that are out there that are not in the forefront of folks' minds, you know, but they're probably worth. I'm stoked to check out Gotham Knights.
I liked Gotham Knights. I talked about it on the show when it came out, because I like that game. But
it turns out I'm not alone. Xavier in the chat says I'm 22 hours into Starfield, taking a break myself. Jumped into Ghostwire Tokyo. Nice.
But yeah, as for me, what I played real quick. One, I finished the Mortal Kombat 1 campaign. Sean, I talked about it last week, where I was halfway through the campaign, finished it this week, and dude, this campaign was awesome. I loved it. It even has like a nice twist, halfway through the campaign that I really, really enjoyed. So just really solid. I think it's probably NetherRealm's best campaign that they've done for their games.
Wow.
And they've all been really strong. So I actually think like this game, just like I talked about and raved about last week, I think this game's fantastic. It's too bad the Switch version sucks, because I saw plenty of review scores for that where it was getting 3s out of 10s, Sean, on the Switch, because that version barely runs. But at least if you are on Xbox or PlayStation, like, you're gonna have a great time if you whether you're into Mortal Kombat or if this is your first Mortal Kombat, because as I talked about last week, I think this is gonna be like the good game to jump in on if you aren't into Mortal Kombat so far, or if you're jumping fresh into the story, like this is the place to start, I think. And then I'm starting to explore the content outside the campaign. Some of the invasions are interesting. Those are like battles where you earn all the cosmetics for the game. But they have these battles with like different, modifiers to the battle. Like sometimes it's like super foggy, or sometimes you're getting attacked off screen while you're doing the fight, like little things like that. And then the tower arcade mode is just super fun too, where it's just like, your standard arcade mode where you pick, 6 enemies, 10 enemies, or 15 enemies, and you just go through, and there's like a interesting ending for each individual character when you finish that, which kind of ties into the overall lore of Mortal Kombat. But yeah, this game's awesome. I'm really, really enjoying Mortal Kombat 1 still. And then I just decided out of the blue, Sean, I just decided to jump back into River City Girls, the first one.
Nice.
Because I hadn't replayed it in a while. I was like jonesing for a good beat 'em up, Sean. And of course, this is one of the best ones that's out there. So
love it.
Yeah,
dude, that game's getting a lot of love on the show, I gotta say. Like, I know, of course, you've sung its praises, but Donnie was all over it as well, man.
Yeah,
I love that
for sure. Yeah, it's definitely, again, like a game that I know a lot of people slept on. But it's definitely one of the best beat 'em ups out there. It's up there with Shredder's Revenge, Streets of Rage 4, like a lot of those that are out there. So anyways, I'm gonna slam the brakes on this conversation, Sean, because we got to get to the breaking news, because there's a lot of it, Sean.
There's so much.
Yeah. Let's start with Tokyo Game Show, because
yes,
I'm excited to talk about this, Sean, because I stayed up until 5 a.m. on Wednesday to watch the Xbox Tokyo Game Show conference. And it wasn't even a live show. It was actually a premiere on YouTube. So they just uploaded a video and just played it out. But we got some cool announcements. And actually the showcase was actually really fun to watch. And it's up on their YouTube site if people haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But first announcement we got was Phoenix Wright's Ace Attorney trilogy is coming to Game Pass on September 26th.
That's crazy. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. That is nuts. Is that not nuts? Like, am I just kind of overreacting to this?
It was kind of out of nowhere. I was not expecting that at all.
I've never thought in a million years this would be even come. Like, is this not the first time it's coming to Xbox? Period.
Yeah,
and it's coming
to
into
Xbox
Game
period.
Pass.
Yeah.
And it's going right into, dude, that's crazy. I've always wanted to get into these. Of course, I'm a huge, we just started the show with F-Zero, big Nintendo fan. Always miss these games on the DSs and the handhelds and whatnot. Dude, I think this is awesome.
The best part is, Sean, I haven't played these games either.
There you go. Look at us.
I'm also probably going to play them for the first time on Game Pass.
What a get. Holy cow.
But also, the sequel trilogy, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, also hits Xbox in early 2024. So we're getting basically, when these two collections are out, Sean, pretty much every Ace Attorney game on Xbox.
That's
which is
huge.
crazy to think about.
It's just continuing to be like, just getting rid of that stigma that there's none of these types of games, you know? And I feel like with Persona on there, that's kind of the big one. Final Fantasy is such a, like with 16 not being there, that's just not going to happen. No. But it really starts to round out the corners on this Xbox, you know, which we'll get to later. A rounded out Xbox, Ryan.
I see what you did there, Sean.
Yeah.
But, you know, speaking of games that I never thought would be on Xbox in the first place, Like a Dragon Ishin and Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name are both coming to Xbox Game Pass as well. Ishin will hit Game Pass in October, while Gaiden will be a day and date launch when the game comes out on November, I think it's 10th. November 10th is when that game's coming out.
More of this.
Persona. Yeah.
More of this, please. This is what, look, there was like maybe 2 years ago, we got a bunch of this stuff happening. Like when MLB The Show, I feel like I reference that every, 3 or 4 months or so. Like this is what people expect from Game Pass, is stuff like this. Like that's a pretty big deal. It's not Cyberpunk. It's not some of these other gigantic things, but that's a pretty big deal. And it also, to the point of this whole showcase happening at Tokyo Game Show, like just satisfying this genre, this area of games that has been so underrepresented on Xbox. Here it is into Game Pass. Like, dude, it's checking off so many boxes. That's very exciting.
Also, if you want a series that's like the most Japan series ever, like Yakuza,
hell yeah,
sorry, Like a Dragon, it's that series.
Yes.
Let me tell you what, like it's weird and wacky and goofy in all the ways that, Japanese drama or comedy shows are. Like that's yeah. Like, and I know Matt Sawinski, of course, big fan of these games and is obsessed with them. And of course, we're getting the next Like a Dragon game when it comes out in January as well, day and date with all the other consoles. It's on Game Pass.
Man, I feel like this is the thing where if the hesitancy to put games like this onto Xbox in the past was that people wouldn't buy them, then Game Pass is like that perfect scenario where it's like just try it. Like you have it for all these other things.
No. Clearly it's working for Sega. Like Sega is just all in on Game Pass.
I love
with
that.
This and Persona. Like
Mm-hmm.
they are all in on the basket that is Game Pass, because they've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And they must be seeing something that works with this.
Yeah.
Like some reason why this is working.
Totally.
Otherwise we wouldn't be seeing them doing this. We would have seen them pull back.
It's just the money. Just the money truck that fills backing up into their
Well,
building.
maybe, but I also think like they must be seeing some kind of engagement outside of that.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But next up, and I wanted to put this one on here because even though this isn't normally a Sean or Ryan game, when I watched the showcase, I was actually really interested in this one. So Mineko's Night Market got a release date of October 26th, and it'll launch into Game Pass day and date. This is a little cozy game, Sean. You play as a little girl and you're going on an adventure and you're collecting stuff. But I don't know what it was, whether it's the visual style or the music, but like this game kind of got me, Sean. I think I'm going to play this game. I think I'm actually going to install this game and play this game when it comes out in October. Like, yeah, Seth points out it's out on Switch next Tuesday, apparently. So it's coming to Xbox a little bit later, but it's going to be Game Pass day one. Like, I'm going to wait. I think I'm actually going to try this game because I think the trailer kind of won me over for this one. So I don't know. It looks like it's just going to be a lot of fun. So I think I'm going to play this one. But next up, Octopath Traveler 2 is actually coming to Xbox after all. It'll launch on Xbox early 2024. I'm a little disappointed that this isn't coming this year, but I'm just glad it's coming to Xbox at all. And this goes back, Sean, to the Final Fantasy dissertation I gave to you and Donnie, where I said my bold prediction, it would be announced before the end of the year that Octopath Traveler 2 is coming to Xbox. Look who was right after all. This guy. Octopath 2, Xbox, let's go.
No Game
Still
Pass.
my favorite. No Game Pass, but you know what? It doesn't need to be. I will play this game again for the achievements because Octopath Traveler 2, Sean, is still my favorite role-playing game I played this year. Period. Full stop. But moving on, Party Animals is crossing over with the Ori series with 2 new skins for the game. You get to play as Ori and Ori's other companion, whose name I'm forgetting. This will launch sometime in the future. They didn't announce the release date, but sometime soon. And I put this in the Discord, John. I'm actually surprised you weren't all over this, because I know how much of an Ori fan you are when it comes to Ori.
I am, but I'm like, I don't know. Does that mean I just go wherever Ori shows up? I'll just go.
Well, I thought you were interested a little bit in Party Animals too. I saw a lot of chatter in the Discord about Party Animals, but like, I don't see anyone playing it. Like a lot of people are talking about it, but not playing.
Dude, I was streaming earlier tonight, and I think it was Stingray. There were some people in there saying like this is like game of the year material. I'm like, I shouldn't judge because I haven't played it. I have no idea what people are on about. I played like the tutorial, and I didn't put it into the notes or anything, but I played a tutorial for Payday 3 because I thought I was going to be playing that with people, and that got canceled. And then I knew there was people excited about Party Animals, so I played a tutorial for that. And it's a very kind of wacky physics based kind of like Fall Guys, but not really. It looks very good though. Like it's actually like visually, it's quite stunning, very cute, ridiculously cute even.
Which is kind of what we expected when we saw the trailers for it. Like I'm not seeing anything different to kind of win me over from what I kind of saw already. I don't know if I'll try this game at some point, but I thought it was cool to at least see Microsoft doing more with their IP and kind of licensing out with this in this way.
Absolutely. Yeah. More of that, please. Definitely. I think this is mostly just the kind of week that I had a rough week, Brian. This week was pretty challenging. I'm not going to lie.
I do a heart.
No, all good. I need to get back running. I need to go for a run actually as well.
I love how you said that when Miles of Amanda just
she's right there. Snap. Yeah, man. Yeah. So
excellent.
Need to do that. But I think because this week when I sat down to play something, I was doing comfort games, and apparently that's F-099. That's, play a little space Marine. So
yeah,
whatever, dude.
I mean, to be fair, that's kind of honestly the last month. That's pretty much what I've been doing.
That's a thing. Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know what it is, man. It's September, but last thing, they had the one more thing to close out the show, which was the gameplay reveal of Hotel Barcelona. Of course, this is for Donnie Reese and Donnie Reese alone. The new 2.5D action game from Swarty 65 and Suda 51. It'll hit Xbox sometime in 2024. Game looks interesting, but it's very far away, it looks like. And it's a Suda game, which could go either way. Could be really awesome, or could be not so awesome. But we'll see. Again, I put that here specifically for Donnie Reese to say that we at least acknowledge that this game exists. But
overall, you like this showcase, Ryan? Like it looked, because it kind of looked like what people should be expecting from Xbox at big events. Like I don't know. I was just kind of combing through, and it doesn't look like anything different than, which is a good thing, than like say E3 kind of season.
No, in fact, I made a note of it here. Like beyond what we just talked about, like with the actual announcements, we got like new trailers for Persona 5 Tactica, Persona 3 Reload, Iodine Chronicles 100 Heroes, Infinity Strash, the new Dragon Quest game. And all those trailers look great. I think that they had some really good looking stuff that even though we already knew about. Like games that really, really impressed at this showcase, which is exactly what I was hoping for something like this. Yes, we didn't get like the big Game Pass kind of day one like shadow drops that we usually get. Like
not the Shadow
Ace Attorney was the only one, but at the same time, like this is exactly what I want to see from Xbox at Tokyo Game Show. Just showing off cool games from Japanese partners coming to Xbox, which is exactly what I think Xbox needs at a show.
It's interesting because like the timing of it, I don't know, like you were obviously up at 5 a.m. to see this. For me, it would have been 3 a.m. It would have been 2 a.m. for Garrett Bland, and those on the Pacific Coast. So like that kind of, I don't know if it invites as much of us here in North America into it as we would like to see. But like, again, I'm kind of just like scrubbing through, and it's fascinating that it's kind of looks like a Nintendo-esque kind of thing. But then it jumps back. It's like, oh, there's Sarah Bond. Yep. Like, and it's, there's the Xbox logo, and even the artwork around it You know that I don't know
Like the
what's this cat? What is this cat, man?
It's
Like
just
very
a Japanese style cat holding an
totally.
Xbox console. Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
it
Like,
looks super cool. Like I think they kind of went all out for this. And again, it felt
I
like
feel like they
watching
nailed it.
like a
Yeah.
mini E3 presentation, which is again,
Yes.
I really, really enjoyed watching it. So
Almost entirely dedicated to Japanese style games. I say almost because I think Forza was in there too for a
yeah,
second.
well, it's because they announced a Japan map for Forza.
There you go.
Is what they
man.
announced.
That's so good. And Forza continues to look great. I'm just going
Yeah.
to continue to be a mark for motorsport. And I
Yeah.
hope that people are going to try that out because it is coming to Game Pass. Every single person, Ryan, we know who listens to the show, subscribe to Game Pass.
100%. And if they didn't, Donnie Reese would hunt them down and say, "You don't have Game Pass yet? Get Game Pass." And then they'll start throwing that GIF on Twitter again, saying, "I got Game Pass because of Donnie Reese."
That's right. That's right.
It's been a while since I've seen that GIF, actually.
Let's see it up again.
Exactly. But the Muffin Mon came in. Ainsworth asked us a question about TGS. He asked, "What was your standout announcement from TGS, and why was it Like a Dragon Gaiden coming to Game Pass?" I think that's a big one because that's a game a lot of people were looking forward to. But honestly, I'm most excited for Ace Attorney coming to Xbox and Game Pass. Like I am set. I'm excited to play those games. But I'm going to give the shout out, the honorable mention to a game that I was actually kind of surprised about, which was Iodine Chronicles 100 Heroes.
It looks
which
so
is
good.
a game I was excited about. But the trailer they showed here looked awesome. Like this
really
game
good.
looks really, really good. Like it looks better every time I see it. And I'm very, very excited for that game.
I'm with you, man. I think this Ace Attorney thing for me too, like, I want to play like you played on cloud like that. I think that's one of the biggest reasons I'm excited about it is that's a game. I don't know if necessarily I will sit down to play maybe on stream. Maybe I could do that as part of Game Pass, but it's just something I can play like in bed or on the go or whatever. It just seems like I want to do that in a way that I don't need like even the best connection. I don't need that to be like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about the timing for objection.
No, you probably don't. No.
Yeah,
it's gonna be totally fine for cloud.
Perfect cloud game, says Seth in the chat. So yeah, that'd be great. Nice.
So there you go. That's Tokyo Game Show 2023. And again, they're just at the show this year. Just in general, there weren't a ton of big announcements across all the consoles at Tokyo Game Show. It was just a lot of smaller updates on games we already knew about, which is again just typical Tokyo Game Show fare. But yeah, like I was just really impressed with Xbox's showcase, and I hope they continue with this with next year when they go ahead and do this. Sean, of course, showing off the trailer for.
I finally found something I could scrub to, so Chronicles looks really good.
Yeah, like this was definitely like the standout trailer I think for me for all the stuff that we saw there. But
this is Xbox, dude. Like we're looking at this. This is an Xbox showcase. That's crazy.
In Japanese, Sean.
I love it.
Yeah, with all the Japanese voices and stuff. Oh my god, dude, that game looks great. But anyways, moving on, Sean, because we got to get through some stuff.
All right,
new Game Pass games. We'll run through these real quick because we got a cool lineup here. Liza P, Party Animals, and Payday 3 are all available right meow. You can go play them. Cocoon is coming out September 29th. This is a day and date launch. This is a little indie game. October 3rd, we are getting Gotham Knights and the Lamplighters League on the same day. The Lamplighters League, I think, is like this other indies game. It takes place in like the 20s. And it's like it's similar to a Fallout, is what that game is all about. Like the original Fallout, not new Fallout. Or something like Wasteland, actually, is more likely. But Awesome Dave asked the question, what is the best game to release on Game Pass this month? And why is it Liza P? I mean, Awesome Dave, I don't know if you've heard about this little game called Starfield, but it came out in September on Game Pass. It's probably the best game that came to Game Pass in September, as much as I'm excited for Phoenix Wright. But
dude, I feel like September's a great month for Game Pass. I don't know about you. Like I feel like it's been pretty remarkable. Like I don't know. I'm trying to like find the right words for it because Starfield is as big as it gets. You know, we'll just throw it out there. They celebrated 10 million players playing Starfield across Game Pass, Xbox, PC, Steam, everything else. But like that's the biggest Bethesda game. So, and that's available in Game Pass along with this week. Just seems like, yeah, a lot of people excited for Party Animals. A lot of people, like some are excited for Payday. I think that's a great Game Pass game. Liza P, rock solid, dude. Cocoon, I'm very excited about. So I'm just kind of like, I feel the need to constantly download these games and install them on my console right now.
Yeah.
Spiritfarer came back. Shout out to Spiritfarer. Very
That's
cool
true.
game.
That's true. Because it had like some kind of definitive edition, I guess, that released. But then, Sean, it's important to note, even though they stopped at October 3rd, of course, October 10th, Forza Motorsport also comes to Game Pass as well.
Oh
so
my
a week
gosh.
later after
Yes,
Gotham
please.
Knights. Because
Yes,
when I
please.
say that it comes out October 6th, that's if you buy the extra, like the Ultimate Edition.
I'm doing
'cause
it.
Releases a few days early.
I'm doing it. I'm doing exactly the same thing as I did with Starfield, I think.
Yeah.
Because I actually need more space because Spidey and Mario on the 20th. I need more time. So
Yeah.
this all works. They
You're
know
also
what
going to
they're
need
doing.
more hard drive space too, because the preload went up for Forza and I installed it and it's like 140 gigs.
Oh, I'm going to be doing both on my. I want to compare on Series X and my PC. Not that my PC is like a gigantic rig, but it's pretty decent. So I kind of want to compare. I will say, like, I played Forza Horizon 5 on my PC and on Xbox, and I end up going back to it on Xbox. The load times are way faster over there. Like, it looks and runs fine, but the load times not so much. So Miles of Amanda points out, I also need more time. Yes, I should point out that we're all quitting our jobs to play these dang games.
I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
With some of this stuff. I mean, there's also, again, outside of the 3 releases we talked about in October, there's also more games coming out in October than just those 3 as well.
Yes,
so it's just like,
I know.
It's too much stuff. At
It's
least
good,
Alone
yeah.
in the Dark got pushed. At least we at least got one game that got pushed out of, October. But,
Yep.
I mean, we're all building up until next year when Unicorn Overlord comes out next year, of course. That is.
Oh, yes, that's all of us. You speak for everybody there.
Just like I speak for everyone, Sean, when I say it's time to talk about now the thing that happened this week, Sean.
The thing.
Now, normally,
yes,
Sean and I have a rule on the show where we don't usually talk about leaks or rumors or anything like that on the show. But this
things that can't really be confirmed.
Big, but it's also it's also something we took to our community as well. And our community, really wanted us to talk about this subject, so we're talking about it tonight. So, Sean, it is time to talk about what has been dubbed the Great Xbox Leak of 2023, where essentially there was a PDF for the FTC the FTC documents that went live
on an FTP.
On an FTP server, but the PDF document for some reason had thousands upon thousands of images just attached to it and embedded in it that contained basically the next 10 years of Xbox.
That's crazy. I mean, before we dive into any of the details, just the manner of which this has come to light, and also just the horrifying reality of emails being public.
Yeah.
And that's really the thing, more than rumors and leaks and whatnot. I feel weird about it. Same. I feel weird just seeing, an email that is meant to be between the sender and the people on the 2 and the CC. That's all who is meant to see that. And I don't know. And this is not the first time that we've been able to witness and see emails of that fashion. It's just I don't this scale. This is unprecedented. There's almost been nothing else quite like this. And it does, Miles of Man in the chat, it gives me the ick. It gave me the ick, and it gives me the ick as well. And that is why we took it to the chat, just because I'm like, this isn't like other things. And I feel like it's important, at least, Ryan, before we dive into it, to at least acknowledge that this is different. This was not intended. This wasn't a result of journalistic poking and prodding and asking the right questions and getting the thing. This was a mistake. And it cost so many people so much. And unfortunately, it's caused the internet to just erupt on itself.
Of course.
We're not doing any of that stuff.
Like
we're not diving into, that's the thing I want to make clear for people too. We're not getting into any of the console garbage stuff that you've seen here. That's not the point of this. There is some really interesting things and thoughts that are happening. I also just want people to think about what this, at least if there's a positive, maybe it gives you a little sense of what it takes, what real conversations happen behind the scenes in order to bring this industry that we all love to life. These are very big decisions that people are making, and it requires brainstorming and thinking outside the box. And what if we did this? That's what I'm seeing here, Ryan, is
Yeah.
it's kind of how
Well,
I would
even the
imagine.
stuff that's on the documents, like I'm pretty sure by the time it actually gets announced, whenever the stuff gets announced, like it's gonna be totally different from what we saw on the document. Because like they're
I
brainstorming
wonder.
and all evolving the ideas. Some stuff you're right,
Yeah, I
probably gonna be the
wonder.
same. But I
Yeah.
think there is gonna be some stuff that's gonna be totally different because a lot of the documents that leaked were from 2021 or 2022 or even earlier 2020 2019.
Yep.
So like some of the information is going to be very outdated, like the game list, for example, that leaked, like that leaked before Starfield got delayed into 2022.
That's such a good thing to point out, dude, because it gives some actual time context. It gives people reference points to go like, when was this? And it's like, you're right.
Yeah.
At the time, they thought they had the date nailed down for Starfield, and they didn't.
Yeah, because also at the same documents, like Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out in 2024, when we obviously know that's not true because Starfield just came out this year. So,
yes. Yeah. And Seth reminds us, Uncle Phil has said as much. I don't know if this is in our notes.
Well, that's what I was about to say there.
Yeah.
So I was gonna lead it off with Phil's quote here, which is, we've seen the conversations around old emails and documents. It's hard to see our team's work shared in this way because so much has changed and there's so much to be excited about right now and in the future. We'll show the real plans when we are ready, insinuating that, again, these are old documents. A lot of this information might be actually outdated and that there's going to be real plans coming soon.
Yeah. It's interesting. Maybe there's I'm not prepared for this as this thought is coming into my mind, but like almost like a predictions of what's going to remain and what's going to change. Like what does he mean by that? And I don't think that he's just trying to, I don't know, create a smoke and mirror kind of thing here. I believe that. I believe that there's some of this stuff that is significantly changed. I think to your point, we know some has.
We already know with that, again, with the Bethesda game list that leaked, like a lot of that's probably totally different from what happened then. Like there are certain games on there from certain studios that I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be making that game after what happened with Redfall, as an example.
Right.
So,
wasn't there another Ghostwire Tokyo?
Yeah,
in there. Yeah. I wonder, maybe, but like that was before. I don't mean to disrespect, and I'm forgetting his name. Shinji Mikami, right? Left. He left, but that was after.
Yeah.
It's
also like that list, that document came out before Doom Eternal came out, Sean.
Oh, again, these reference points, Ryan. This is excellent. Yeah.
The same day,
really
was,
important.
by the way, the same week that Animal Crossing New Horizons came out in 2020.
Wow.
Like, when you think about it, because because that was right in the pandemic when that document was put up. So.
Worth mentioning, Ryan, again, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is all the documents that they had to be compiled for the purposes of this Activision Blizzard purchase.
Yeah, correct.
And so just kind of reminds you of how long we've been in that for.
Yeah, especially. And the only reason why this stuff became public in the first place was because there was the FTP file server became publicly available with the court documents because they have to be released to the public after a certain time period after the court, like the court date ends, essentially. And that date had come up, and we were getting like little tidbits of information from the court proceedings from documents that had come out that were meant to come out and were properly redacted. It just happened to be that they released the wrong document here, and that's what led to this happening in the first place.
I thought it was not secured, and it was meant to be secured. It was like something as stupid as that.
Just these attachments were not supposed to be attached to this particular PDF because this PDF was fine to be released, but all the little things attached to it were not.
How do you attach something to a PDF? Anyways, it doesn't matter.
You can attach, trust me, it's a whole thing. Basically like a PDF, it works the same way as a zip file kind of does in a way. But,
if you say so.
Yeah. Well, let's go through some of these things because we do have a question about some of this stuff. And I think more importantly, we're not going to do a deep dive on any of this stuff, Sean, because as we have noted, plans may change. We also have only have so much time tonight. But also too, it's more for us to talk about the idea of like, do we like this? Do we not kind of like this? Do we think it's going to stick? That kind of thing. Yeah.
Like there really is a ton here. And there's like an email to read into on this topic and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know, man. Go listen to PSVG if you want, like every little thing. Donnie did a great job of it earlier this week. But we're kind of like, we're pulling up the things that are kind of the big hitters, I would say.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Brooklyn and Ellenwood, Sean. Those are the two new mid-console refreshes for the Xbox Series X and S. Now, I saw a lot of people when they saw this news, Sean, we're like, oh, Phil lied. He said there was gonna be no, Xbox Series XX or Series refresh when we saw this. But no, this is basically the equivalent of the Xbox Series X Slim or the Series X Slim. Because when you look at the specifications, Sean, they're exactly the same specifications as what's on the consoles currently, other than the updated Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
that's it.
There's a bigger hard drive, 2 terabyte hard drive on this digital only series. Which, by the way, I've been calling for a digital only Series X for quite some time. This one is really interesting because it does seem like it was planned to be this. It's planned to kind of like take over the current price point, $499 USD, I think it is. And so
it said same great price on the document. So that was a side feature.
But are there features that it's adding? Does that make sense? Like, again, things could change. So this is the thing. This is why I don't do it. It's because it's like everything we say is going to have that asterisk on it. Like things could change.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Nobody knows at this point. Like future Sean and Ryan know, but we don't know. Because you're right. Like I think like even the design that's on this document, Sean, like the mock-up of it, like that might actually look different when they actually show it. Like,
right.
It's a cylinder. They show the cylinder design of what the Series X is going to look like, but like, who knows if that's actually what they're going to stick with at this point.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's more likely probably to stick because I think this document is like a newer document that's closer to today's date where it might actually be closer to the final design. But I don't know. There was some interesting stuff here. First of all, Sean, what was interesting about this is they noted Xbox Design Labs support for the consoles, both consoles.
For the consoles, dude.
Yes,
please.
Thank the maker. Like we've been asking for that for how long, Sean? Ever since they announced Design Lab, like please let us customize our consoles that way. Because like they just came out with these wraps, Sean, for Series X and S, with just the Series X, which are great, but like I almost want like a painted console to look cool, like to look at like around a certain game, or I want to be able to customize the colors on it. Like that would be like really interesting and cool. So
I like it, man. I mean, I don't know if you want to like. I don't know if I believe this. The design of it. I don't want to believe it. Like that's the thing. Like this
is it because it looks like a router in your house? Is that why?
Yeah, and just like what is happening to our consoles, man? They used to look cool, and I guess this is just a feng shui kind of like wanting it to fit in with everything else in your.
Well, it's important to note, Sean, if this is the final design, if it's actually factually a cylinder, you're not going to be able to lay it on its side.
Well, good, yeah. Vertical
excuse
only.
Me, but hashtag team horizontal all the way.
Oh, it's no good. It's amazing how it changes the overall.
Well, it might be different though, because I think we can't tell by the picture, Sean. It may actually be much smaller than the current Series X.
That's true. I'd love to. You're right about that. That would be really interesting to see. And to your point about it being a slim, that would make a lot more sense. You do get
because it might be closer to the size of the Series S when we actually get it, Sean. Like that's my line of thinking here with this.
Yeah, Xbox continues to surprise us a little bit with the design. I remember when the first time we saw a One X, it's like, dude, how did they do this? This thing does 4K and it's the smallest Xbox they've ever made. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
This one, it says the thing that jumped out to me at first was it's the most powerful Xbox ever, now adorably all digital. And it's like, didn't really do anything more. Like, it's the most powerful Xbox ever because it's just as powerful as the last one that they called the most powerful.
Well, the Wi-Fi is
Xbox.
better, so therefore it's better.
Yeah, like that's really it. Brooklyn will deliver 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power. So it's actually technically less powerful, but
that's
not what they mean. A more immersive controller and a beautiful redesign that elevates the all-digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem. So it's dropping a 4K Blu-ray out of there, which is a shame for people like me. I'm enjoying my 4K.
I got a whole
Blu-ray
bunch
playing. I'm not going to get into this speaks to Xbox's position on game preservation is absolute nonsense.
But we're going to get into it because we have a question about it later, Sean.
Okay, we can get into it. Well, you kind of know where I'm going with that.
We'll tee it up
after. Total nonsense.
We'll tee it up.
Let's see. It says all new South Bridge to modernize in and out plugins and sustainability efforts. Wi-Fi 6E, which is faster Wi-Fi, but you shouldn't be using Wi-Fi. You should be plugging in a dang
Wi-Fi 100% all the way.
It does say have a 6 nanometer die shrink for improved efficiency. That's talking about the system on chip or the processor, which does, to your point, Ryan, maybe indicate that this thing is smaller overall. You would expect with this thing generating less power, that means generating less heat. The chassis of this should probably be smaller, and that could be something that could catch people off guard, I would say, except for the fact you've just warned them.
Yeah, I'm very certain like this is probably like when we actually see it, it's probably Series S size or smaller even.
Seth in the chat says it's the size of an Echo Dot.
I mean, it could be. Could be. We don't know. We can't really tell. Maybe it's just the size of your Rogers router that you have. You're with Rogers.
So double the storage. 2 terabytes is no joke, man. That's pretty good for a console to be doing that. And all these other little upgrades, same price. Again, who knows if this is what's going to happen. But I don't know.
Well, I think the price listed there was the price before the price increase too.
Oh yeah. Well, and whatever that is, it's just replacing that price point. I think is the way to think about it.
Because I look at this like the same way that the Xbox 360 got its slim model, or the Xbox One S. Like I think like it fits into that mold.
I feel like the 360 they started getting cheaper and cheaper though, but I could be misremembering. That might
I'm not talking about the price. I just mean the console design and the thought process behind it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, 360 they just kept trying to get rid of the red rings of death. So
right. Which they had to,
at
some point. But yeah, and the Series S, honestly, it's same kind of deal, and in fact, it looks even more the same. In fact, although, again, it wouldn't surprise me if the Series S redesign is actually smaller than the current one, if you can believe it. Like I think they may actually shrink it, especially because it doesn't even have standard USB ports on it. It's now USB-C on it only.
Well, and I wonder if we've already got this, right? Like I'm trying, let's break this down a little bit. So faster Wi-Fi, we haven't got that yet, but we did get a Series S with the 1 terabyte hard drive.
The black version that just came out. Yeah.
And that's like, so this, I guess these are just coming with a better controller too, which we can get to in a quick moment here. That's it, like, do you think that people would like that though? Like, and we're thinking that PlayStation's going to have more power. They're gonna have a PS5 Plus or something like that. I think. Like, what do you?
I think people are going to like this in the sense that it's going to replace the current model and just be the de facto Series S going forward at the price that Series S is happening at right now. Because it's takes me back to a conversation I had 2 nights ago because I'm training a new person at my job. And he, of course, knows I'm into video games. So he's like, hey, I haven't had a console since PlayStation 3. If I'm to buy a console now, what do I buy for me and my kid? And we went through the options together, and I'm like, the Series S is actually a pretty good option because it's cheaper than the digital only PS5. You can barely find those things anymore anyways. And I think it's a good value for a family with Game Pass and everything else. And I think like people will look at this mid-gen version and see all those benefits along with it, but the actual hard drive space to support that. So yes, I think that people will be all in on this or excited about it.
Ryan, I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but things could change. This document came out a little while ago. Now, what I want to ask you about is not something I've heard other people talk about. Since, it's actually been quite recently that the Series S has been under some scrutiny, especially over this bald man's gate situation. As I look at this, and we've got this live and we're having a look at it here at YouTube, but you can definitely click on the links in the show notes and follow along at home as well. This to me says they are at this time just as committed to the Series S as they are to the Series X. And I'm wondering if that is a thing that could change. I wonder if now that this is out there, does that create some friction, some conflict if they do a mid-gen refresh with that Series X, the Echo Dot, and Series S is left behind? Like, I'm very curious how they're going to handle this going forward.
I mean, I don't know. We know, I'll skip ahead a little bit, Sean. We know that currently the Series S is the large majority of the player base. It's 75% of people who own Xboxes own the Series S at this point. So I think like people are going to be, are going to still buy these that would normally be Series S customers and they might not even know that there was a refresh. They're just looking for the Series S and they're like, that's the one they're picking up on the shelf because it's the best value.
That is the absolute correct response. That is the number to go to. That is the metric, that the specific like piece of data to point to when wondering, how Xbox is going to respond to this whole bald man's gate thing and people wondering about the difference in power. And the thing is, it's really too bad. I even hate kind of bringing it up, is that we see time and time again, Starfield is a great example of this. If you look at them side by side, they look pretty good, man. Like Series S is holding its own this many years into it. So between that and a number of other examples where it still does quite well performance wise, and it's kind of bringing a lot of people into the Xbox ecosystem, you expect them to continue with Series S.
Funnily enough, Sean, there are certain games like Jedi Survivor that when that came out and had all kinds of performance problems on Series X and PS5, the Series S version was the most stable because they just locked it at 30.
Yeah.
And at 1080. Like it was the best playing version on consoles.
It's the closest thing Xbox has to a Switch. Just underpower this stuff. Keep your expectations in check, and you can have a 720p.
No, it's for people that have 1080p TVs, Sean, because there are still lots of people out there, Sean.
Of course there are.
With 1080p TVs.
Dude, there's people, even still, there's people with 4K TVs that don't know how to plug it in correctly to get all the things. And that's not a knock. It's it's confusing as all get out. You need a specific HDMI cable, and sometimes it has to be the right input. Like, goodness gracious, man, stuff's getting complicated.
And I mean, I still think we're going to have, situations like Baldur's Gate where there are going to be certain features that will be excluded from the Series S versions going forward. But you're still going to get all the same games on Series S that you're going to get on Series X, probably for the rest of the generation till 2028 at this point, because they just have to scale them down to 1080. So
I wonder. Well, the reason I also bring it up is if PlayStation does go with a plus, so you got the PS5 Plus and a PS5, which is parity with Series X, and then you've got Series S kind of behind that, and then whatever Switch is going to be doing, you got all these SKUs to be creating stuff for. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm excited for the future of what is to come here and what actually is still there. And it was one of those, I didn't want to look at any of this stuff, honestly. But there's no avoiding it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Eventually,
because it would have just cropped up on your YouTube thumbnails, or someone would have said it on Twitter and stuff like that. It would have found a way into the subconscious at some point, Sean. But also, as soon as I saw this pop up, I'm like, I almost wish I didn't see it, but I need to quickly warn everyone on the Discord that this is a thing. That was my first response to this.
Well, and maybe to that point though, Ryan, because I usually am pretty sensitive to spoilers and stuff like that. I look at this and it's remarkable in how much information has leaked, and it's very spectacular, salacious even. But we're talking about a cylinder Xbox with better Wi-Fi and double and a controller that.
Well, what's funny, Sean, when you think about it, this is exactly what Phil already told us what's going to happen anyways. He said there wasn't going to be a Series X, or sorry, a 1X kind of equivalent for this console generation. And that's not what's happening here. Yeah. And he said there would more likely be a smaller revision like this in the future, which there is. So this is, and not only that, with the controller, which we're back to talk about, all the features he talked about in the controller, he mentioned, he's like, these are great ideas. I think we'll do this with a future controller.
Yeah.
So this is just confirming stuff we already knew that Phil told us. In fact, it more just confirms to me, Phil just is actually speaking the truth when he talks about a lot of this stuff. Because I trust him more now than I did before.
The other thing, Ryan, I think I remember, I mean, anybody who's been listening to me on both shows for a while can maybe remember when Nintendo revealed the Nintendo Switch OLED edition. And we all thought that there was a Switch Pro coming. We thought there was a 4K, there's all these weird rumors going around. And then they go, here's our new console. It's the Nintendo Switch OLED. And I'll never forget reading through the notes and going where's the 4K? Where's the 4K? It's just a screen. That's it. And that feeling of what the heck, this is barely even different at all, was, I guess it didn't play any impact on me at all. I still ended up buying one. I traded my day one in for that one anyways. But in any case, what I'm trying to get around to here is, if this was some sort of proper reveal at Summer Game Fest or the Game Awards or something like that, do you think that it would be kind of a womp womp kind of announcement? Here's the future of Xbox, and it's this.
I don't think they would have marketed it that way though. Because remember when they did the announcement for the Series X Black edition during the
you think it would be kind of like that?
I think it'd be kind of like that. That's what I was actually expecting for this kind of announcement.
Yeah, but I don't know, man, because
again, these consoles are not being positioned as the future of Xbox. They're just the slim models. And when I look at how Microsoft have announced these type of equivalents before, Sean, like that's kind of how they've announced them before. So like, I don't know, like that's how I kind of feel like that. It would be like a small little teaser trailer during like one of the Xbox showcase, probably next summer. Then they'd come out next fall. And like, we'd be like, okay, that's cool. Move on, I guess.
Well, okay, so let me correct as far as like how it's being promoted, because what I'm trying to lay out here is the expectation, and it
Right.
might not be Xbox creating that expectation, because it's not always about what the platforms are
Yeah.
creating as far as expectations. People's imaginations going wild, so there can be this fervor, like surely there's something, and especially if PlayStation does something in the meantime.
I was just about to say that, because if PlayStation does announce like a PlayStation 5 Pro, which
right.
people keep saying they're going to next year, like that'll be really weird. But also too, when you look at the PlayStation 4 Pro and compare it to the user base of the PlayStation 4, like it wasn't even a contest. Like I think there might have been,
Right.
They were saying like less than 2 million PlayStation 4 Pros sold.
Yep.
So I think that just the audience for that isn't super big anyways. And I think Xbox sees that. I think Microsoft is just like, with the One X, I don't think it flew off shelves either. So they probably look at it and they're like, why would we do this again when it didn't really do well the first time?
It's sort of like
even if Sony does that,
point.
It's just like, why do they need to feel like they need to?
Well, there is something to be said, at least maybe it's more important at a console launch to not be outdone on a power level. You know, so because I mean, people were arguing back and forth on the PS4, and that's when we first started learning, and the One X started learning about what a teraflop was. Like nobody knew what a teraflop was before the One X and the PS4 Pro.
Yeah,
so
it's like it's the bit wars from when we were
all
kids.
back
John.
again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, now we can have whatever's in our hands wars and the haptics. Ryan,
I mean, it's still better than the Atari Jaguar. 64 bits. Hashtag do the math with their slogan.
Do the math. Hell yeah.
Because it was 64 bits when the Super Nintendo was 16.
Well, so I guess what I'm landing on here is this, again, catastrophic as far as the way this information it's monumental. This is a thing. This is historic. But I think that there's still a way for Xbox to still kind of spin this in its own positive way. And that's what they do. That's what they do best. The Series S was a really good example of this, that it got completely leaked and they turned an absolute like masterful social media event into this. So there could be interesting ways that they deal with this, and it'll be fun to watch over.
I mean, it was moments like that, Sean, that led to the Xbox Series fridge becoming an actual product that people go buy in stores.
Like that kind of stuff. I feel like that kind of stuff mattered. It did seem like they've maybe gotten away from that. Maybe it's the Activision Blizzard stuff. They're just trying to get it done. Who knows? But here we are again, man. It's exciting if nothing else. It's ridiculous. Like it's hard to believe.
Yeah. So real quick, Sean, should we touch on the controller that has pants on it?
This controller. This is the ugliest thing I think I've ever seen, man. It's really not all that different. It's just like, what are they doing with this two-tone thing?
Well, so the big difference, it's got the haptics, like the DualSense.
You can keep your haptics. I don't care. This is where I really get to show my true colors. People were like, oh, you're just an Xbox fan, so you don't like the haptics of the DualSense or whatever it's called. No, thank you. Nope. I'll turn these off immediately, even if it's on an Xbox controller. No. No
and big difference also, it comes with a rechargeable battery this time.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And well, if it's a good battery, let's go. Yes. My entire thing about like this whole rechargeable batteries and stuff. And the other thing too, that I agree with Donnie, who said this on the PSVG earlier this week, is I've been playing with a wired controller for a long time, actually. So because of my experience with the PlayStation controller, I really hope this doesn't come across as console war garbage. I just haven't found the batteries to be good enough. I mean, Nintendo controllers are great. Nintendo wireless controllers, that is the battery life we want.
Oh, please. Yeah. If you go back to the Wii U, Pro
controller. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like that thing lasted like 100 hours before you had to recharge it.
It seriously did. Like that. So I'm not against built-in batteries. I'm just built-in against bad.
No, the PlayStation ones have always been bad. Like it's not a console thing. Like I'm someone who actually plays PlayStation a lot. And I always use their wireless controllers, and that goes all the way back to PS3, because like the PS3 battery life for their controllers was always not great. Same with PS4, same with PS5, especially PS4, because of the light bar. really
Mhm.
drain the batteries. Even if you even after the option add the option to dim the light, it still drained it pretty quickly. So yeah,
Or
they
that's not
just
what
die pretty
drains
quick.
batteries. Like those are the most efficient lights ever, man. It's not like the old remember the old Christmas lights we used to have on our trees back in those big bulbs like, causing fires all over the
Wait,
place.
hold
Like
on. You're saying we still don't have those?
I'd love to have them actually. Very colorful.
Yeah, that's true.
Ryan, this diagram here, Project Sebel mid-gen refresh on the console. You mentioned a few things. Direct to cloud, my friend.
Yep. Yes. It'll
This
be
is
like the
the
Stadia
Stadia
controller.
controller. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. That's kind of interesting for me. Lift to wake up. You pick it up, and I guess it turns on the console.
Yeah. Well, you can turn on the controller, which turns on their console. Yes.
That's cool. I like
Yeah.
that very much.
It's pretty cool, but also it's just like if I move it around across my desk, and turn my console on, it'll be very annoying.
That's fair. Yeah. But
Or if I
rechargeable
move it to
battery.
clean under it or something. Yeah. But rechargeable battery is good. I'm glad.
Right. Just constantly like looking under. It's like, what's under here?
Look, I got a lot of stuff on my desk. Okay. I
That's
have to
true.
move stuff around all the time. And I don't want to
Mhm.
have every time I pick up my controller like this, John, I don't want it to turn on my console.
Every time you pick up James Cameron's Dark Angel featuring Jessica Alba, season
It's in a
1,
pile
available on
over
DVD
here,
right
Sean.
now.
It's
See,
in
look
a
at all the
pile.
stuff that he's moving
I've
over
got a
there.
pile of stuff over here. James Cameron season.
Yeah, there you go.
Angel
See?
season 1.
You got
Followed
it.
by James Cameron's Dark Angel season 2 now available.
You got it, man.
We got
Bluetooth 5.2, whatever that means, should improve, which should improve stability, reduce latency. We connect it to any device that isn't an Xbox. So that's like when you're playing cloud games on your iPad,
Or PC games.
or PC. Good call. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, precision haptic feedback, which who cares? Apparently it doubles as speakers. This is actually the first time I'm reading that line. Did you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
What the heck does that mean?
It'll mean that like through like the rubber grips on your controller, Sean, there'll be little like speaker holes and you'll hear you can hear the stuff through your controller.
Interesting. Well, I'm curious to get my hands on that whenever that, or if it actually continues to come out. This looks pretty official and formal, Ryan, but
yeah,
there you go.
Well, and again, those design docs again just proved everything we suspected as far as, these being, not, more technologically advanced than what they're. Also, it looks like the controller is going to come out before the consoles, or at least that's the plan anyways, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
But also, I don't think that's a bad move or anything like that. Because, like, what if you just want the controller and not the consoles kind of thing?
Right.
So,
well, it gives us something to buy in the meantime, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now that we've gone through the consoles, Sean,
yes,
I have a question for you. This question comes to us from Stingray X from the old Discordia. Stingray X asks, seeing how the potential Series X refresh is digital only, what are your thoughts on if Xbox goes digital only in the future? Take care. Do we have concerns, Sean? Does this have give us concerns that at some point we will have Xboxes without disk drives?
Only because the disk drive acts as a wonderful movie player. That is 100%. That sorry, I shouldn't say 100% because there definitely are some 360 games, some Xbox One games that I do have. You're sitting there with Cyberpunk in your hands as well. Yes, there are some like back compat stuff that I should address here. I have to admit though, Ryan, like the number of times that I use it, like it's gonna show up in fits and spurts for me personally, like just the way that I am. It'll be like Christmas time where I'm feeling nostalgic and I don't have to get to whatever the hot game is at the moment. I'll be like, oh, I'd love to be able to play Call of Duty's World at War, and eventually I will have an Xbox that doesn't have a disc drive. That does stink.
So you'll have to buy it digitally at that point then for $20.
Well, exactly, dude. And there's a Call of Duty sale on right now, and I was thinking about doing that because I do have all those games, 360 or even Advanced Warfare, which I really like.
Yeah,
is on sale. I'd like to pick that up digitally as well. Wouldn't it be great too, though, Ryan, for them to figure out this would just be one of those weird moments at like E3 or something where Jason Ronald comes out with his gigantic beard. It's 6 feet longer than the last time that you saw him. And he's like, you can plug in via USB your old Series X into whatever the future console is, the one that has abandoned physical media at all. And you can somehow have
I don't think they're going to do that.
HD
I think
DVD
they're
thing.
going to just sell a portable hard drive, or not portable hard drive, portable
that makes sense. Disc drive. That makes sense. That's better. Yeah,
because like we heard that with Sony with their quote unquote revision where they are thinking about doing a revision without the disk drive either.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I imagine Xbox does it. They did that before with the HD DVD drive, Sean.
I know.
So they sold a disk drive.
Go
before.
grab it. I feel like it's up there in the.
It's probably up there somewhere in the ether. But yeah, because like you're right in the sense that for me, Sean, even though I, play some games physically, like I'm glad I have this copy right next to me of Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2 on Xbox 360, because this is a game you can't really get on PC anymore, unfortunately. Fantastic real-time strategy game. Really, really good. I can pop this into my Xbox 360 at any time and play it. But I don't necessarily need my new consoles to have, disc drives, except for the 4K Blu-ray players. Because to your point, Sean, I actually have like a pretty sizable Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray collection that I do actually watch. And there it is, folks. The HD DVD drive that came with a copy of Peter Jackson's King Kong
the movie
on HD.
Yes. DVD. Look at this. I wonder if there's anything in here.
Probably Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Dude, it looks like a little mini 360. Like, I love this little thing. It's kind of heavy, so cool. Too. This cool. Thing's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm kind of the same boat as you, where I don't really buy physical games for modern consoles because it's really just an install disc at this point. So why would I do that? It's not, again, it's not like this copy of Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2 on Xbox 360 that I was showing off
that there. Game. You have that like right there. I had to go like rifle through some stuff to get this thing out.
Well, it's because I was just playing it like last week.
I almost broke a couple Skylanders boxes.
I might have been playing this for capture for a certain reason. But
Yarden in the chat points out this thing is bigger than the Series S. It's not quite bigger than the Series S, but this is maybe larger than you might. The HD DVD drive is maybe larger. Also, I will say, Ryan, they've done things like this before to sort of extend the life of something that is over. Like Kinect, I think, is a good example.
Yeah. You can still get your Kinect sensor, though. Things like that. No, I was just saying, yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think they certainly do that. Also, Sean, do you want to know what game was underneath Lord of the Rings? Guitar Hero Metallica was nice. That.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
It's sad but true. Let me tell you what. But yes, you're right. Like, I think that's why, like, I know there's a lot of people that'd be bummed out who like to collect physical games, but like we're getting to the point where there are certain games like Cyberpunk. When I installed Cyberpunk again, Sean, it installed 80 kilobytes of data from this disk, and then it installed the rest of it from the internet anyways. So people make the argument, oh, well, what if the Xbox servers go down? Then you can't download your game then, but it's like, well, it's not on the disk anyways. Like, so the installer
when you compare it to PC gaming, dude, it's ridiculous. When was the last time anybody bought a disc for a PC game?
They didn't. In fact, I saw someone showing off pictures.
They didn't. They did.
Of Grand Theft Auto on Grand Theft Auto 5 on PC. Oh, that game's on 12 DVDs, Sean.
Is it really?
Yes. 12 DVDs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, World of Warcraft famously, Sean, when World of Warcraft used to be a boxed game you buy in stores, it was usually 9 to 10 discs of game to install.
I mean, the real thing, people, we need to rally in the streets so that these games that we love that are locked to some sort of physical media can be relicensed and brought to digital storefronts. Like that's it sucks that we'll have to buy them again, but it's still kind of nice that that's even an option, honestly.
Yeah. At one point, Sean, I want to be able to just go and buy F-Zero on Super Nintendo, but it's just like, we're not gonna, I just hope we get to that point where a lot of these old games come back. Like Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2, because the whole reason I brought out the 360 version, because you can't buy the dang PC version anymore, which is the good version. Okay, I have to play this busted 360 version because that's all I have access to. Because I want to be able to buy that game again, I can't. So there you go. All digital feature, I'm cool with it. Is when because I'll just keep my old consoles that have disc drives in them if I want to use them.
I know it's a complicated topic and people are going to have a lot of feelings about it. But part of it, I think, is the diskless Series X that they had in these documents, but also this hybrid computer, Ryan. Like this is all Game Pass is digital, as many people have pointed out. This hybrid thing is really interesting, where it's like seems to be some sort of almost console that is connected directly to the cloud, but it's not entirely relying on that typical cloud, that X cloud experience. Like
it was literally the technology they talked about with Crackdown 3, Sean.
Oh, with the power. Oh, that makes
With
sense.
the power
Yeah,
of the
the power
cloud,
of the
we'll have
cloud.
destructible environments unlike any other game. And then they only used it for the multiplayer for Crackdown 3.
I mean, that's the other thing too. They have these these games that are meant to guinea pig the future of the damn ecosystem. Like, no pressure,
Yeah.
developers, by the way.
Yeah.
But really interesting here, like this really small unit. It specifically states, like, again, things could change, but less than $99. And
Yeah.
this idea of getting games in people's hands, like this is now battling with Nintendo, and Nintendo's like crushed
Yeah.
this for years and years, having a very low cost option where you have multiple Switches in a household. This could be really something interesting.
Well, we're also like, news this week, Sean. We're also starting to see phones really kind of compete with our modern consoles too. Like the iPhone 15
Oh yeah,
is
that's
playing
back
Resident
again.
Evil 4 Remake, and you can plug it into your TV and you just play the dang game that you'd play on your Xbox on your phone.
Mhm.
Like, I
Yeah.
think like there are a lot more options out there for people. And,
See,
and
that's the
going
kind
into
of stuff that
video
scares me
system.
more
Yeah.
than anything that we're seeing here, as far as like the future of the industry and whatever else. Is like, man, keep the phones out of it. Like, you do your phone thing, okay? Like, I'm an old man. I want my
Well-
consoles.
Well,
Like,
that's
this
why
is still
like
a
that there
console to me.
we're seeing with, because there was that document talking about the future of like the next Xbox console and having some of the games leveraging the cloud, like hybrid cloud games was like the terminology they used, where you'll play games that you'll play a single player experience where it'll also key into the cloud while you're playing it to leverage the power of the cloud to like enhance the game experience,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to know how all that's gonna work.
Mhm.
Also, Sean, I had a thought, and this just randomly came to me while we were looking at that other screen. It said Thin OS, Sean. Is that at all congruent with Sharp Water at all?
Yes, it totally makes sense. The Thin OS is that's actually very much like the Switch. Like, there's not a lot going on with the Switch operating system. Just very, very lightweight,
Yeah.
and doesn't require a lot of background processing. Just let the games kind of happen. And
Yeah.
this is interesting, because to me, this is, I don't know. Hopefully, it'll actually expand what kind of games we can play. But like, this is different. This isn't just
Yeah.
throwing more horsepower at a thing, and actually, it's actually the exact opposite.
Right.
Than just continuing this horse race. It's changing it's a paradigm shift, actually. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
it's
an
going in a
overstatement.
completely different direction.
Yeah,
like
so
the
it's
Switch.
interesting, if nothing else. I don't know if it's going to work out, not what I'm trying to say, but it's
No.
interesting to see them try this, because this is their competitive advantage in Microsoft land. They can do this. Anybody can put together, apparently, not me or you, a powerful console, so this is something that
Well, you also see
maybe only they
busted
can do.
cloud versions of games on Switch as well. Like that again.
I've
to
never
your point,
tried any of
that's
them.
Microsoft's advantage, where they actually are like leaders in the cloud market currently.
Yeah, could be
So,
interesting.
yeah.
Dang.
It'd also be really interesting, Sean, again, with now that we know this, like how this is going to tie into when we hear about Nintendo's next console next year, and like how, like whether or not that's going to be digital only, as an example. Because like if that is like that's a sign to me that that's the direction we're going in with this stuff.
Mhm.
But Sean, I see you pulled up the Bethesda
I'm
list.
just scrolling down this webpage, and this is what's next. This Bethesda release schedule. Ryan, do you want to tackle this a little bit?
So, do we want to read off all the games here? No, Sean, I have to importantly point out the first thing I noticed when I saw this list. There's no Quake on this list.
Yeah.
This is a Bethesda game list, but there's
Mhm.
no Quake on here. What's
Yeah.
going on? There's no Quake? It doesn't exist?
Well, there are a few. I don't know if these have been confirmed. Like, there's these project.
Yeah, like
Whirlwind.
Project
This
something.
falls under maybe free to play mobile. Is this entire column, I guess, free to play mobile? Those are the only times that we
the
see.
ones on the right are free to play mobile. Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, there's Project Hibiki here in fiscal year 21, I guess, end.
That sounds
Is that
like
what the
some
E
kind of
stands for?
Japanese game.
Project Hibiki, yeah. But this is alongside Starfield, Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Redfall, Doom Eternal DLC, Ghostwire Tokyo, Fallout Worlds, which is Fallout 76. Like, is that not this year?
Well, Fallout Worlds was like, yeah, that was the expansion for Fallout 76. And funny enough, fiscal year 21, that we were supposed to have Starfield and Redfall and Ghostwire Tokyo all come out in the same year.
Yeah, but here we are in 2023.
Yeah. Because again, like this document was at the start of fiscal year 2020,
Redfall.
or which was, of course, starting with the Doom Eternal and its DLC.
Yeah.
And Deathloop. Like, because like in theory, according to this document, like last year, we were supposed to get the Indiana Jones game and Starfield's DLC and an Oblivion remaster, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, very, very aggressive. You and I were just chatting about Oblivion remasters,
Yeah,
I feel. So
we
that's
were.
kind of nice to know.
We
Like,
got a question about it. I think that's why we were talking about it.
it's a no-brainer. So
Yeah.
that's great to see. Doom Year Zero, I think, was a call out, a standout here.
Yeah.
Which is apparently the next Doom game.
Yep.
Because it also is listing DLC for that.
Also, it's weird that they would do a prequel to Doom, because that's what it sounds like. That's Year Zero, I'm assuming, indicates a prequel for Doom.
Yeah.
But like in the first Doom game in the Doom remake, like in the Doom reboot, you start when everything's going to hell. So I don't know how you go back even farther than that, but I guess we'll find out.
Well,
I'm
demons
interested.
came from somewhere, man. Maybe there's something,
True.
There's definitely some things before.
I'll tell you what, Sean, I like Doom a lot. So I mean, even though I'm disappointed that Quake's not on this list, I actually really like Doom, so I'm okay with that.
Project Kestrel, Project Platinum. I don't know if we know what those are. There's also a Project Kestrel expansion.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only other, there's room for some sort of unknown.
Rage 3.
Yeah, exactly. Good. God help us all. But
Seth points it makes an interesting point. Wonder if any of those project titles were Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh, interesting. Hibiki, maybe?
That could be Hibiki, could be Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, I could see. I don't know if I didn't play enough of Hi-Fi Rush. I mean, HI, Hibiki, I don't know. Maybe there's
It's a very Japanese sounding name, Sean. So I would imagine
I would say so too.
It's a Japanese game. And the timing, the release timing lines up with when they probably expected that game to come out.
What's a Kestrel? Is that reference to anything? I don't know if they'd want to do that.
I don't think so.
In any case, Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, they seemed to want to do that. Again, staffing has changed at that studio at this point.
Well, also I look at a game like, because Dishonored 3 is listed here too.
3, yeah.
I'm wondering if that maybe is canceled because of what happened with Redfall.
I feel like no, I actually think the opposite. I think because of Redfall, they go back to their roots. Like give us what we like from this studio. It seemed like that's what they wanted to make. Now the sad thing is, I think we know that everybody left because they were making Redfall.
That's what I mean. Like that's why I'm surprised. I would be surprised if they actually ended up doing that again, because knowing the entire team that made those games kind of left.
Yarden says, I heard people say that Platinum was Hi-Fi, which makes sense. Platinum Record, maybe.
That makes sense too.
Love to know what
it's probably one of the two of those.
Licensed IP game, which isn't listed here. I don't know if you know what that is, Ryan. Do we know that?
We don't know it. We haven't heard about another licensed IP game from
some sort of Marvel or comic?
Like something like that. Like maybe another Disney property as well.
Yeah, I know. Just say Disney. It's probably
something
in there.
Well, because they're doing Indiana Jones, right? So
which
it's actually probably more likely it's another Disney game.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Fallout 3 remastered though, Sean.
Fallout 3 remastered, please give it. It says here a fiscal year 24, which I don't. Is that next year? I have no idea.
It's literally next year,
I guess.
It's obviously not coming next year because it also says it's coming the same year as Elder Scrolls 6, Sean, which was supposed to be next year.
Well, who knows? So just give me a Fallout 3 remastered. Yes, I mean it's nice. It'll be spaced out from Starfield. Does it say Starfield DLC anywhere?
Yeah. Starfield DLC is 22. Yep. Yeah. So 2 years. So
that's pretty massive, dude.
So that puts it in line, Sean. If everything is congruent, Sean, that would basically put that 2027 would be that.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Because it'd be 2 years after Starfield DLC, which is next year.
Do you think there's anything here that really surprises you? Other than so you now know Doom at least has been in some sort of pre-production.
Yeah. I'm surprised that there's no Quake, but other than that, all this is just very predictable. Actually, I am very surprised about Dishonored as well, because again, and it's not even just that. I because of how traditionally poor Dishonored sold, combined with the fact that if this is correct, then Dishonored 3 was going to come out almost 10 years after Dishonored 2, which just seems like too long of a time between games to me.
Yeah. Right. Yes, that's Sergio in the chest. Is Bethesda continues to make Bethesda game news at 11. This isn't
pretty much. Yeah.
But maybe that's the saddest part about it, is maybe you're kind of hoping for something in here that's they're going to do this crazy thing. So who knows?
Prey 2 or a Quake reboot or
something new.
Something
really
new,
is
a new IP.
Yeah.
Like I would have loved to see, like I talked about it before. If it wasn't going to do Quake, like I would love to see them do a new IP, or same with Machine Games, because this also
almost
confirms there's
all
no
sequels.
Wolfenstein either.
Dude, these are
anytime soon.
all sequels or remakes. That's all this is.
Yeah.
So yeah, and maybe this should set expectations appropriately to just like to know this is what's coming, but I still am gonna want to have something else than this, dude. Maybe that licensed IP is the only thing. Maybe there's a Project Kestrel. There's such small windows for something to really surprise
In
me
fact,
out of this.
Sean, I looked something up because I was curious about this.
Yeah, what is Kestrel?
No, this
damn.
document comes pre Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda.
Oh, interesting.
So like, I wonder how that's also changed things.
Right. Yeah.
Because they acquired them in 2021. I thought that was the case, but I went and looked it up again. And
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas this chart is from fiscal year 2020. So
this could be the thing that Phil really is referencing when he says like old plans. Like maybe
yes,
it's this. It's tough to say. It's
I
all of it.
I think like there is probably going to be some big changes to this. I mean,
I
you
hope
already know
so.
the big changes because of the dates, but like
that's true.
Yeah, everything else, like I think
this is when Starfield was only going to come out on PS5.
Yeah, yes, when they wrote this, that was the case.
Yeah,
which is weird to think about.
Yeah, man. But there's a huge article here on Windows Central with a ton of like we're getting into Email Central or Email Central, Email City here. But I feel like those are probably the biggest things. Ryan, did we miss anything, or we got?
No, I don't think so. I think
else?
like this is like the good part to kind of wrap up this conversation.
I think so.
I think we've touched on the meaningful stuff and also the stuff that's we're most likely to see in the future anyways, because a lot of the other stuff like that we've heard about tangentially from this leak, like that's all 50-50 as to whether that sees validity. Even with this stuff with the next console, like that's still like, who knows how much of that actually stays the course between now and when that comes out.
Yeah. So, well, now we all get to feel what it's like to be some sort of like leaker and to wonder whether or not to comment on something, because things can change. Like this is the stuff that, the Jeff Grubbs of the world, I'm sure, kind of deal with all the time, where they're told something that is real, is very real, is very talked about. Like there are timelines associated with these things and all the sorts of stuff, but does it come to light? I don't know. We'll get to see at this point. We've never had this kind of access before, so it's kind of neat.
Definitely. It's interesting. So yeah, I guess we'll find out next year by the sounds of it with some of this stuff, whether what's real and what's not from this list.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I just want to sign up to like Phil Spencer's like personal email list. Like I want Phil Spencer to just like, they should turn that into a thing and he just emails us. Like if we're all going to see his emails anyways, he might as well just send them directly to our inbox.
You might as well just hit all. Like just send all
just
on
the world. Yeah, email the world.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd sign up for that.
So quick question then, Sean, to kind of round things out. How quickly does one of these new console designs end up on Phil's back shelf?
Oh, dude, wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, because he did that with the Keystone.
Like
the small.
Maybe
thing.
the next time.
It's on the shelf.
Yeah. I
Which,
don't know.
by the way, Sean,
if it's real.
on those documents, it has that on that still.
I know. Yeah,
because it's still meaning to come out.
It depends on what's real or not. I feel like if it's fake, then you won't see it.
No, but if they have even if they had a prototype, even if it was
like fake. The Series S, that's the one that got people really looking. Like the first time that you look back and went, "Oh, son of a gun!" There was a Series S back there the whole time.
Yeah,
because it was so small and you didn't notice. It was just it looked like a book. It looked like this small white spine, just crazy. So who knows? We'll see. Maybe he doesn't do anything for a long time. I can't believe he's still working. Like I quit, man. I'm out of here. I am out. This is exhausting.
For sure, man. But anyways, I think that's going to do it for tonight's show. First of all, thank you to everyone who wrote in questions tonight. And thank you, Sean, for engaging in this very long conversation with me. But where, of course, can people find you on the internet, my friend?
You can find me on twitter.com/Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Add me as a friend, Sean Capri, on Payday. If you're adding Payday friends, it's Sean Capri as well. It's pretty easy to do, Ryan. I'll accept the friend request there. as well. And shout out to the CMA, which apparently did some preliminary.
That's true. We didn't even get to that. But
yeah.
yes.
So, but I mean, that's all there is to say about it.
It's better to wait until because they haven't even made the official announcement for that yet.
Yeah. That's our coverage of that news story, everybody.
Yeah.
But like, it's a big week in Xbox land. So here we are, Ryan.
Please be excited. Oh,
Eric Cave in the chat. Eric Cave, what is up, dude? Good to see you.
Welcome
good night
on
to
in,
you,
Eric
good
Cave.
sir. Holy cow.
Good night.
Wow.
Also, Sean, before we go, I forgot to mention this in the cleaning the garage section, but I want to mention it here. Extra Life is coming up.
Yes,
please be excited. We will have firm details on Extra Life very soon for people. Just plan first week of November, Rome, New York. We will be there. Sean will be there. Yes. I'll be there. Other members of Carpool Gaming will be there.
Seth,
you, the listener of this podcast, reviewer of this podcast, should be there too.
Yes, we're gonna have couches. We're gonna have games, dude. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Amanda might be mad at me about this, but we talked about this on stream.
Don't do it, Sean.
We're doing it. Okay, and we'll have to have some sort of link very soon. We're just finalizing some details on who we're fundraising for and whatnot. But whatever. Every $5,000 that we're gonna raise, I'm gonna run 5,000 meters at Extra Life.
5,000 meters. Oh my God.
That's 5 kilometers. You know what I'm saying?
I am aware. Some
people aren't sure. We got to translate this into yards or feet or
just get a couple of yardsticks out, Sean. You can figure it out that way.
That's pretty cool though. So we're going to do the thing and then just come back, sit on our couches all sweaty and whatnot. So there you go.
I feel bad for Seth and I who have to hang out with you sweaty people.
Yep. Enjoy. Yeah. Heaps and heaps of kilos and kilos, Seth. Yes.
Extra Life will be playing games. We'll have sweet giveaways like this Starfield controller behind me.
Yep.
I'm
we got 2 of those to give away. I think that might be the first time we're announcing that on a public feed, Ryan.
Well, but it's Xbox. Sean, if people are good enough to listen to the end of the show, I feel like that's okay.
Maybe I'll give away this HD DVD on the 360 HD DVD drive. Why don't I have this?
I don't have one, and I kind of want to win that, Sean.
You can have this.
No. It's more fun if we give it away.
But I can just give it to you. Do you want it?
Sure, why not? I'll play all my HD DVDs on it. Why not?
I don't even have my HD DVDs anymore. This is just kind of cool looking.
Maybe at some point I want to watch The Bourne Ultimatum on HD DVD.
Or Knocked Up. Sitting there. Or Hot Rod.
I didn't even know those were on HD DVD.
I had all of them, man.
Oh my God. Oh my God. As for me, you can find me on X at Ryan Turford. You can also find us on X at Carpool Gaming, right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. Of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I am Ryan Turford. This has been episode 309 of the Xbox Drive, and we're out. Bye. Hey, Donnie.
No power greater than X.